Before we get started now, I wanted to inform you all that in the near future, videos and uploads will be quite slow because school is coming up and I really got to get myself prepared. So I hope you understand and be sure to remember that uploads will be now slow, and I'll still try to make videos. It's just that the channel is kind of got a bit slow, so I decided to make this video today. So I hope you enjoy it, and let's get started. Banjo-Kazooie joining Smash Bros. Is like a pipe dream to everyone. I guess, and including me. Though the thing is that not a lot of people in this timeline knows nothing about Banjo-Kazooie, and that's just because they never heard them before. It's just because it's the year 2019 and all that, and Banjo hasn't gotten an official game in nearly years. But today, guys, I'm a Tiger Simulator 2 here. And welcome to VG Origins, a series where, well, talking about a specific video game character from a franchise, and explains the history of how it started and what their history is. And the first thing being is Banjo-Kazooie, the most popular, most iconic Nintendo character of all time. But let's get started to the very beginning. Back in the year 1995, Rare was working on a game known as Project Dream, or specifically Dream Land of Giants, where a boy who's named Edson, with his dog Ginger, and his parrot Billy, with his girlfriend, I think Madeline. Edson had some trouble with pirates, known as Captain Black Eye, and right now, there wasn't that much of a plot, but the game revolves around in a pirate world, a pirate town to be specific. And not only that, the game was also an RPG-like game, featuring the boy Edson, and as you can see here, there's a screenshot right there of Edson with his dog, fighting a creature-like thing, whatever that is, think of a sea creature. But yeah, but the thing is, it is an RPG. It just kind of feels like an auto-scroller by the footage you're actually seeing right here. It's just Edson running in the wooded path in the first version. Dream actually was originally supposed to be in the SNES, but during 1995, during 1995, the Nintendo 64 was coming out about a year later. So a year later, Rare decided to switch Dream all the way to the N64. Then, right now, as you can see here, this is an early version of the N64 right now. And it literally shows Edson walking in a wooded path, and he has more of a bit of a different design than the one from the SNES. Yes, and in 1995, that was kind of around when Donkey Kong Country a year later came. I mean, 1994 is when Donkey Kong Country came out. A year later, the games were still around. And this is an early version of Dream, actually. Then Phase 2 came along, where they decided to make some sort of some secondary non-playable characters, like a dopey dog, a rabbit that looked like a man for some reason, and a bear, which we all know and love, Banjo, the bear. And Banjo actually still has his backpack where he stores some adventure items, and he will be becoming the new protagonist of Dream. And guys, you're not gonna believe what you're seeing right now, but the sketch that Rare showed was the actual Banjo they were working on back in the 90s. So that means that Banjo was holding a giant weapon. I'm not sure if I should be surprised, interested, or scared at the same time. It's like look at him. He's like he's showing no mercy with that sword of his. It's like, yeah, you better stay back. I got a sword. But yeah, this is kind of what Banjo really looked like back then. He had a sword and all that. He actually had a sword. Greg Mayles, a video game designer, actually said that another year that Dream continued for around another year after they switched from the SNES all the way to the N64. And right now, Greg Mayles actually liked the design of the bear. So what did they do? Well, they scrapped the entire project of Dream, the whole project of Dream Land of Giants, and now they decided to make Banjo. So yeah, guys, it's kind of interesting, and yeah, it says my own color scheme because I didn't, because yeah, all that. So yeah, this is kind of what happened to the Dream. So that's kind of how Dream became Banjo-Kazooie. Phase 3 came along, and around the time in 1997, that's kind of where the team scrapped the Dream game. And they wanted to change the game into more of a 2.5D platformer because Greg Mayles said that they come out with another game that is actually way more dynamic and a bit more confident. And so they decided to make a 2.5D platformer. So it was kind of gameplay, and also Ed Bryan commented. He said it was gameplay that were better suited to do. Around the time in 1997, Kazooie was actually introduced at the time. As Kazooie was actually still announced, the thing is, Rare wanted Banjo to actually have a double jump. Not only that, Banjo kind of wanted a double jump, Rare said, and they wanted like wings coming out of his backpack. Though to be honest, I think it will be weird to have wings coming out of his backpack. But also, not only that, Banjo also need to move very quickly at times. So Rare to create a move where a pair of legs stick out of the backpack. So mixing the two ideas, they decided to come up with a bird, or initially named Tweeter. And according to Greg Mayles' design documents, we know it was titled Kazoo, which the one and only Kazooie, who actually does play the kazoo. Also, guys, here's the thing. Banjo's sister, Tootie, her name used to be Piccolo. Yeah, Piccolo. Not the Dragon Ball Piccolo, the instrument Piccolo. You know what I mean. But not only that, Tootie, or Piccolo, was actually Banjo's girlfriend. I'm not joking. So I guess we're going to Donkey Kong style, I guess, because Donkey Kong has a crush for Candy Kong. Yeah. But, yeah, imagine literally Banjo, imagine that Tootie, or Piccolo, was actually Banjo's girlfriend. That would be cool, but to be honest, I like how they stick with the whole sister thing, because that's kind of way more, to me, is kind of, in my opinion, is that it's kind of more original than a princess or a girlfriend being kidnapped by some evil being and all that. So yeah, I kind of really don't know why. But Chris Sutherland actually said this. There were 2 months where we experienced with using Dream visual technology to create the game. Then we altered our approach to better design. And right now, and that's kind of a year where Kazooie became legend with Banjo. Though with earlier designs, it shows some scrap photos about fruit houses being some oranges, lemons, grapes. I think it's grapes. Oh, just cherries. Never mind. Strawberries, and these are the grapes. My mistake. Then it showed this one and it's a world map. And geez, that is a huge world map. I can't imagine Banjo or playing a game like this, like suffering, or I don't know. Then they showed this sketch where Banjo is climbing a tree by climbing a giant tree with the branches as platformers. And I only show a few images, and that's about it, because that by the looks of it, right here we got some baddies for Kazoo and all that, and we also got the bubble speak right here, and it showed that, and it showed here that, like Banjo, he said, I need the shovel to do this. Who is this? Who is this? I'm not gonna ask. The key cost 50 gold pieces, which actually became jiggies, or jiggy jigsaws, to be exact. Then, we got Piccolo, or Tootie. Banjo is a pig, and it shows a picture of Banjo, equals pig. I don't know why, but I guess it's cool. And right here, Banjo asked this, where's Piccolo? And this is Piccolo. So these are the bubble speak. I have no idea who this guy is and all that. Then Phase 4 came along, which is March 1997. And as you can see here, Edson, like, I think I remember when Smash Brothers announced Banjo as the third DLC fighter about a couple months ago. I think I remember that Banjo shorts were inspired by Edson's shorts after the game was like completely scrapped. Though the main villain, Captain Black Eye, actually referenced Dream, that he mentioned that he had a dream where there was a bear that kind of feels similar to Banjo, and that's kind of when he referenced the whole island, which actually does reference the scrap project Dream, who became Banjo-Kazooie. Though around March of 1997, Banjo-Kazooie was known as Banjo-Kazoo instead, but they had to change the name to Banjo-Kazooie instead, only because that it was due to copyright difficulties. I'm glad they stick with Banjo-Kazooie, because Banjo-Kazoo, I mean, it sounds kind of neat, but nah, it just sounds bland. And yeah, guys, that's kind of about it of how Banjo became B. And right now, and hope you enjoyed this drawing right here of Donkey Kong, Mario, Banjo, Link, Pikachu, Fox, Kirby, and Yoshi. But yeah, guys, this is how the whole thing started. That's kind of how Banjo got his whole, like, iconic life. And a few years later, they decided to make a sequel, Banjo-Tooie. And then a year later, scrapped from Microsoft. Not scrapped, but bought by Microsoft. Years later, bam, he finally returns. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and like I said before, my uploads in YouTube will be slow due to me going to school. And hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you learned something today about Banjo-Kazooie. And remember this, guys, once a legend, always a legend.